So go ahead and fill me in.
Okay, so Doodle is a like 1.5-year-old Aussie Doodle. He's like really good with like women and like kids. Like he's okay with men that he knows. Very recently he's starting to get like timid towards them, where he won't like snap, but he'll like growl a little bit. And it just takes him longer to warm up. So not sure why that started happening. Like he's obsessed with my dad and like my brother. But yeah, he's just starting to get a little weird, which is kind of concerning me. But I mean, like he's usually super sweet. So like the major problem right now is his like leash reactivity, which was like bad since he was like a puppy pretty much. But it's only getting worse now, where it's like I was at the drawing point yesterday, or not yesterday, a couple days ago when I like signed up.
At what
He
point?
like I was at like the drawing point, like I was just like done.
Oh, I see.
He we were like sitting at Starbucks because I needed Wi-Fi, and there was like a 5-month-old puppy. He was really nice. He was giving it kisses, but like still a little hesitant. And then like a St. Bernese Mountain Dog walked by, and he like freaked out, like almost like snarling, like very like he looked like he would have attacked it, but like I think if he got close enough, he would have been too scared because he's like a huge baby. But yeah, it's miserable taking him out on walks now. Like I have to avoid every single time we see a dog just because he's like lunges and
Jim?
huh?
Jim is entering the room.
Oh, that's my mom. She's probably on my dad's account.
Oh, I see. I'm gonna
Yeah, I invited her to it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just kind of like where I'm at. It's just like he plays really nicely with dogs when there's no leash involved and when he knows the dog. Like we had dogs over in our backyard over the summer, like plays really well. I took him to like a daycare, Dogtopia, and I have like his report card right here. Like very sweet with the coaches, very comfortable, a little nervous but polite, like wasn't interested in play but very curious. Like he was just sniffing the dogs, like totally fine. It's just the leash that like freaks him out. And I just like don't know how I can keep, it's just miserable. And if like my roommate needs to like take him out for me. She lived with me like when he was a puppy, and he would bark at dogs, but like now it's getting to the point where like I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Hello? 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 I can see you. You're moving. You were lagging before.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so it's basically just like the leash reactivity I'm worried about, and he I don't think he would ever like bite anyone or
There's
like
no place to put your clothes.
Say it again.
like he would never like snap at anyone, but I'm just starting to get nervous how he's getting like hesitant around like men.
Yeah. Has he ever?
It's like weird.
Yeah. Has he ever bit anyone? Does he have a bite history?
No. He's never bit anyone. She just like gets like growls a little bit and gets down. But I don't want to get it to the point where he's like feels like he needs to be like protective.
Mm-hmm.
He also has really bad separation anxiety. Like he knows how he breaks out of his crate, so like I don't really put him in the crate anymore just because I will, but he's broken out multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Anything else that your mom would like to add, or anything else?
Well, she doesn't want to are you there, Mom?
Yeah.
She like doesn't even want to take him for walks like by herself because it's not necessarily like she's worried something's gonna happen. It's just so annoying. Like she's like, I don't want to deal with that on a walk.
Oh, yeah.
So like she will always like come with like myself. Like if I'm taking Doodle, she won't take him by herself because she's just too annoyed, which I don't blame her.
Yeah. Um,
Can you see me, Mariah?
No.
Oh, can you hear me? Obviously.
Yep.
Okay.
if you want the video to be shown, I think at the bottom left it'll say like next to mute it says video.
Yeah,
It has a
that's
line.
okay.
Yeah. And then what are your goals for Doodle? Like where do you see what do you want life to look like if you had that life with Doodle? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want him to be able to like go on walks and like walk past the dog without freaking out and like sniff and say hi, which he's very selective. Some dogs he'll be fine, and other dogs he doesn't matter the breed, it's just random. um like yesterday he saw an Australian Shepherd, they like kissed, like they sniffed each other, and then the Australian Shepherd like sniffed him like by his butt, and then that's when he like freaked out.
Okay.
But when there's no leash involved, nothing, like he doesn't snap, he doesn't growl. It's literally just with the leash. So my goal would just be able to like take him for a pleasant walk.
Okay. Do you see if let's say we got the walk good. Let's say you had a good walk. Do you see yourself taking Doodle to restaurants and like let's say you want to have like a nice brunch with your mom and you need Doodle to lay down there for a certain period of time until you're done eating, or um, do you see yourself taking him on hikes and do you need him like off leash trained and you need that recall needs to be off leash. That's the point of recall. Um, like, do you see yourself taking hikes with Doodle, or do you just want? Are you just like? Do you just need him to walk from point A to point B, and then that's really?
Yeah, like even if we want to go like in an hour walk, because I mean we've taken him to restaurants. Thankfully there just happened to be no dog, and he's fine. I'll take him to like a dog park and let him off the leash, and he's fine. He comes back. Like I said, he's kind of had like he's like obsessed with us, with people. So like I know he'll never go too far. So yeah, it's more just like behavioral right now.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
I'll show you him. This is
He like stood up when he showed him the camera. So.
And he looks like a sweet dog, and he is. It's just he's a whole different dog when he's on a leash.
I see. So what do you walk Doodle on? Is he on a collar? Is he in a harness? Prong?
So we used to do a harness, and then I changed to a choke chain. It doesn't have prongs. It's just like pulls now, like at him when he pulls. Because I like figured like, well, I need to try something else because harness isn't working. I would say little to zero improvement with using the choke chain now. At first it did help, and then now he just doesn't care if he's choking himself.
Yeah. So, how it works usually is like when for training stuff and training methods, it's usually like positive reinforcement, just regular basic stuff or food. For those positive reinforcement trainers, like they have a low ceiling, right? You get to a point where I have the food, but my dog's still not listening because he's thinking there's a squirrel, he's got food, I can get the food later. What about this squirrel? I'm going to go for the squirrel. So that's where the roof caps at for positive reinforcement. And then they move on to like gentle leader. You know what a gentle leader is? It goes like around the snout.
Yeah.
Then it's gentle leader. It gives you more control, but it doesn't allow you to correct inappropriate behaviors such as barking or lunging. So then people will move on to prong collar, or maybe before that, a choke chain or slip leash. Sometimes it does provide a big improvement. Other times, dog still doesn't care about that consequence. Then prong collar. Then we move on to prong collar. So there's more consequence with prong collars. So you can stop certain behaviors, but let's say, you give him a correction, which is like a leash pop. Let's say your strongest leash pop is like a 7 out of 10, but he's at a 9. You're never going to override the barking or the reactivity because that's your strongest leash pop. And that could be like, no one could probably cap override that mindset with that much physicality, because it's just not enough. It's a step closer to success, but once you take that leash off, like, how would you get your dog back? How would you correct him for other behaviors? It's just like you have lost control once the leash has been removed.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to e-collar. So we train dogs 6 months and up only on e-collar, because that is where we get our highest success rate. It's close to 100%. We had many dogs here that were here for their 4-week program. So the 4-week board and train is to get the dog off leash trained. But since we're trainers, we can do it, in a week or something real quick. So we've seen changes like that. Do you guys know what an e-collar is, or have you done research about how we train?
I did research and I read that you guys use that, which I'm honestly okay with. At this point, anything.
Yeah.
I'll try anything for him. I'm fine with an e-collar. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention another thing he does is every single time a larger car or truck, even if it's a Jeep, a white truck, he sprints, he really makes a dart to the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I always keep him on a short leash.
Towards the street?
Yeah, he charges after the car.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know why. It's just trucks.
I see, yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm getting here is just a lot of frustration and overstimulation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, like you said, I don't feel like there's any aggression. He's just overstimulated, and it sounds like he doesn't know what to do. So then when he sees something, he's like, go for it. He's a truck goes, he wants to go for the truck. He's someone, he barks because he's frustrated. So if you've been walking him on a harness when he's a puppy, correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So harnesses.
He was pulling too much on his normal collar. So I was like, well, I feel bad I'm choking him, so I'm going to change to a harness.
Yeah.
That was my thought process.
So the thing with harnesses is they're for huskies, they're for protection work. So when we're doing protection work, we'll have a dog, right? And they're on a harness. We pull back and they want to pull forward. We pull back, they pull forward, and we have the agitator on the other side, being annoying, agitating them. The pulling, it's called opposition reflex. So if I pull back on a harness, the dog's instinct is to go against the pressure. So if I pull back, they go forward. If I pull left, they go right, left.
Okay.
And it becomes annoying. So when we're doing that, we pull, and then they want to go forward. We let them, and then pull again. So we repeat this. And they're getting annoying because you keep pulling me. It's almost like, when a friend wants to fight you, you get hold back, you hold them back, and they want to, it gets more intense. So that's what harnesses are used for. Those no pull harnesses, there's no such thing as a no pull harness because it promotes pulling. So always look at puppies and have them on a harness, right? So the puppy, let's say, isn't reactive. But then every time they see a dog, they get pulled away, and then they're thinking, okay, that's annoying. And they keep going through it. And then eventually they'll start barking, and because they're so annoyed, because every time I see a dog and I get this negative pressure, it's annoying me. So they're associating all of this with the dog or the person. And then as it continues, it gets worse. Sometimes it can turn into dog aggression where it's something serious. So it goes from annoying to reactivity, then to if they continue it and it's a constant thing, then it gets to dog aggression. There's not going to be any aggression in Doodle, I'm sensing. It just sounds like he's overstimulated, frustrated, and just annoyed, really. But more overstimulated.
Well, I started reading about leash reactivity, and I'm now seeing what you're saying, because now he can almost sense when a dog's coming. He'll start looking because I tighten the leash because I know he's gonna pull. So I'm preparing for him to go, because I don't want him to run in the street or go attack the dog. So now when I tighten the leash, he knows to look around for a dog. So I'm
yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, when you give tension on the leash, it's tension. So he's like, whoa, like something's going to happen because I'm getting tension right here. But yeah, so that's what I'm sensing from Doodle. What do you guys know about e-collar? Do you know what an e-collar is?
It just sounds like some kind of like shock, right?
Yeah. So
Like just correct behavior.
yeah. So that's the old e-collars, or called shock collars. So back then it was a shock collar. These e-collars we use, Jesse likes to put it as it's electric, but it's not electricity. So if you're holding the e-collar in your hand, like the box with like 2 contact points right here, and you give yourself a tap, you're not going to feel it run through your body. Have you guys ever been to a physical therapist? Have you ever had TENS unit?
I've had those like little patches.
They like move the
they
muscle,
sort of
right?
send waves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what e-collar is.
Okay.
The TENS unit, you can find them at Walgreens. Like sometimes they have like for the abs, like to work out your abs or whatever. It moves the muscle. So if I had the e-collar here and I was pressing, and if I went high enough, you'll see my thumb like twitch like that. You know, it's not painful. It's just stimulation and moves the muscle. It's uncomfortable. It can get uncomfortable, yes, but it's not like you don't hear the dog yelping. You know, the old shock collars, maybe the old e-collars too, like the cheap brands and everything. Usually they'll have like 5 or 8 levels. Our brand has 127. That 5 on their brand and 127 on our brand is same power. We just have 117 more breaks. Does it make sense? So that we can be really specific to the dog's personality, because sometimes the issue would be like, you know, you're at let's say you have 10 levels, right? You're at a 5, dogs yelping. Then you go to a 4, dog's not listening. So then that's where they get stuck. You know, it's either you want your dog yelping or you don't want your dog listening. It doesn't really make sense. So here with our brand Dogtra, we can be very specific. So if it's a 50 is too high, 40 is too low, 45, you know, it works out really well. And like some e-collar trainers, you know, will make the dog do something bad, max out the collar and slam him. That's incorrect. The dog doesn't know what the e-collar is. We need to teach what e-collar is by teaching an on and off pressure work and teaching them that they're the ones that control the e-collar. It's not us. Doodle will never know it's you pressing the button. Doodle will be thinking it is the universe, and there's no association with you guys with the e-collar. It's not confrontational. What I mean by that is if you were to, let's say, do prong collar, Doodle sees you with the leash and he sees you yanking, right? He feels you. When you get tense, he knows it's you. He knows you're tense. He's going to get tense. E-collar, there's no way he can know that you're the one doing it. So a lot of owners will be like, you know, is my dog going to be afraid of me when we start e-collar? No, because he doesn't know that you're the one pressing that button. Does that make sense?
Is it like temporary? It's not like something like you wouldn't use an e-collar for the next like 2 years, right?
Yeah. So
it's just like for training. And then once he's, you know, a good boy, like no more e-collar or.
So the thing with that is, do you drive on the highway?
Yeah.
So I'm going to use like a little example for you. Do you go the speed limit on the highway?
No.
And then if you're driving, not going the speed limit, and you see a squad car up front, what do people usually do?
Slow down.
Exactly. It's called opportunistic behavior. It's just nature. So if Doodle, you know, we like to call the e-collar a cop on a collar to keep them in check. So if Doodle realizes that, you know, some dogs become collar aware, some dogs don't. It just depends on the dog. So if Doodle one day realizes the e-collar is not on and he's doing something and then he's not getting consequence, he's like, oh, it's just when the collar's on that I can be acting up or whatever. But when the collar's on, he's a good boy because it's a cop is there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that you're going to be tapping him for the next years of his life? No. These first few maybe like months, depending how well you do the homework and how much you do the homework practice, should be the most you're tapping. In the future, like Jesse and, the trainers here, we have dogs as well. Most of our dogs are off-leash trained. Like Jesse says, he'll tap like once every 2 months. It's there for emergencies because we can't account for life. So if you're walking Doodle and he's been good with the trucks and everything, and then one day maybe a truck crashes and then he's like, whoa, and then he goes to flight mode and he wants to run away, and he breaks out that flat collar, the regular collar, and you don't have the e-collar. It's just, how are you going to get him back now?
That makes sense.
How are you going to override the brain from flight mode? Because when dogs go into flight mode, they're literally thinking kill or be killed, because they're like, I'm out of here. I'm just going to get away as fast as I can. But if you have that e-collar, you can override that mindset and get him back to you ASAP. So in like 3 years or 4 years, it's on when you need it. If you're going to go for a walk, I recommend having it on in case something happens. Because like I said, we can't account for life. But let's say he's an angel in the house, then you don't need it. If you're going to have guests over and he's going to be annoying, let's say it's like, an older guest. An older guest, right? And Doodle might jump on them and everything, then you would collar him up 30 minutes prior, and then just correct as needed. And then once you kind of dial him down from his energy and he's good, and you can take the e-collar off and he's fine for the rest of the time.
Okay, and this is like still they're like not necessarily like off collar training I care so much. Like this still relates to his like leash reactivity, right? Because that's when you would
So typically when we're addressing leash reactivity, the first thing to go away, trigger wise, is humans. We don't have to address it. It just goes away once we teach the heel command. So heel is the walk command. Walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. All done with a slack leash in any environment. Like Oz Park. Oz Park is a park in the city. It's like the busiest park ever. There's dogs, there's barbecues, there's baseball games, there's kids running around. It's super crowded. And we have been meeting our clients there because it's literally everything. There's trucks going by too. It's just everything. So once we train there and we accomplish success and have more successes in this environment, this crazy environment, then when you go home where it's calmer, it should be easy. So humans is typically, there's like a spectrum. Humans go away, then it's like calm dogs go away, and then after calm dogs, it's like we kind of have to work on the reactive dogs, the dogs that give energy to Doodle that might.
they're like Doodle right now to other dogs.
Oh,
right, like dogs at his level.
I see. Yeah. So maybe we come across a reactive dog, and then maybe we start the training right. Humans go away, like we don't have to address it, and then dogs we kind of have to play around there. But then, like, let's say he's doing good, and all of a sudden another dog is being crazy, and then he blows up. Well, I wouldn't take it personally. It's we've never seen that yet, so then we just go about it that way. And then after the reactive dogs, it's usually like the surprise, like you turn around the corner and then there's a dog right there, which we can't kind of predict. But that's usually what goes away first. The humans I suspect is just going to go away without addressing it, because the way we teach heel, it's very strict. It's not, the heel is, there's the obedience aspect of it, but then there's also the behavioral aspect of the heel. What we're trying to accomplish is that creating a sense of like worrisome caution and focus to you so strong that he doesn't care about the humans, because he's like, I need to watch what mom's doing. Does that make sense? Let me see what I got here. One second. So that's like the spectrum. What else?
I'd love to hear just like how the training works, like the time frame, like where it takes place, how often it takes place, what like the normal success time, like how, like will it take 3 months, will it take 4 months, will it take
Oh, okay. Oh, so
stuff like that, just like how the training works. And like I know like this, like is it paid per session or is it like pay as like a whole, like just how that all works?
yeah, so so we have a few options. We have the in-person. So it goes 6, 9, and 12. So the 6-week program, because I asked you before like what your goals were, right? 6-week is if you walk your dog to the park, you need a recall, and that's pretty much it. The 9-week is I walk my dog to the park, I need the recall, and then I go to restaurants and I need him to lay down and stay still. The 12-week is I walk my dog to the park, I walk my dog to restaurants and he can stay still, and I go off leash hiking. There's no, it's one, so for the 6, it'd be 1 hour a class once a week, and we're giving you one topic to practice. Next week, we give you a new topic to practice, and so on and so forth, so we don't overload you with information. We prefer to meet at Oz Park since we're starting to put all our clients there, so we can just like, we're just there, and then the clients come to us back to back, and we can get more clients done and faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the um, daycare and train, where you would bring Doodle in, for like let's say there's like the 5-day, there's a 10-day, 15 and 20. 20 is equal to the 12-week program. 10-week is like the 9-week, not 10-week, the 10-day bundle is equal to the 9-week bundle. So the pros for daycare and train is that we can get it done fast. Like we teach everything the first day. The con is it's all tied to us. We videotape all the introductory sessions. So how you see how Doodle took e-collar, how he took the e-collar for his first time, and how we teach behaviors. And then what would happen is, like, let's say he comes in for day 1, record everything, everything's done, good to go. You take him home, you watch the videos, and then you practice. Um, and then you also get follow-ups, and we kind of just, show us what you've been practicing. And then we correct certain things, we help you out, figure stuff out, so on and so forth. Then we have the board and train, where you leave Doodle here for 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, or 4 week. 4-week board and train is equal to the 12-week in person and the 20-day bundle for daycare. So in your case, I'd recommend in person since you're dealing with reactivity.
Mm-hmm.
Because the pros for in person is that you're doing everything yourself. Because we don't touch the dog in person. We coach you guys, and you're doing everything from the ground up. You're seeing how he reacts to dogs, how to fix it. If we come across an issue, like you're the one that's fixing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I'm leading towards.
Yeah. So, there'll be other clients who said, yeah, and like in the consultation, like, yeah, I've had my trainer for 6 years, and they were like, 6 years, you've been having a trainer? Like, for us, it's like, you do your program and you're set for life. After the 6-week, if you want to learn more obedience stuff, you can add more classes. But I don't expect the reactivity to be a long process. So how it would go, let's say you chose a 6-week where you just walk your dog to the park. The first 2 classes would be heel. So that's 2. The next 2 would be a recall, and then you have 2 left. We can switch recall to last if the reactivity is still an issue. There's other commands, we have, but I wouldn't give you something that you wouldn't like stay. Like, there's no point of teaching you stay if you're here for the reactivity. I'm not gonna,
He knows that too. Like,
So the focus here is, the reactivity. So I would have to speak with Jesse to see, for the reactivity cases, if it's a 6-week or 9-week that is recommended. If we did the 9-week, 2 heal, 2 recall, we could teach you a stationary command. Yeah, it should be 6. But I'll get back to you. I send follow-up emails. I send the follow-up emails with all the prices and everything, what each week is, and then stuff and prices and programs and everything, so that we can kind of recap on it. What else? Any other questions?
Not that I can think of, but well, I can tell you what I'm doing right now with him, that when he's being like leash reactive, I like when I see a dog coming, I say like, watch me, and I hold a treat to like distract him from it. Because I was reading like that's like a good positive reinforcement that they associate, like, okay, they'll see a dog, they get a treat and they're paying attention to you. So that's like a recent thing I've been doing. I don't know how you feel about that.
So it's, for example, dogs don't give each other treats. If like a dog doesn't mount this other dog, they're like, oh wow, you didn't mount me today, here's a treat. It doesn't connect really, because there's no the dog's still going to keep, as you've seen it, you probably Doodle's still reacting. So it takes trial and error to kind of figure those things out. But for me, you could be making it, we know what the goal is, right? What your goal is, but you could be making it worse because you're rewarding him in this mindset, right?
That's what I was scared of.
It's almost like he's like, let's say you enter a room and he's just showing a lot of anxiety, and you're petting him because you're thinking this is soothing, like, calm down. It's you have the goal, right? But you're comforting him. You're comforting him in a mindset, and you're like saying, yes, be anxious, be scared, be nervous. This is a good behavior, and I'm rewarding you with petting, versus just correcting the dog. Because if a dog comes in anxious in a playpen and like all over the place, we don't allow it, but it's nature. Dogs will correct that dog. You don't come in here like that. You don't come in here zooming around, mounting other dogs. We're going to bite you. We're going to correct you. There's no, hey, it's okay. Like, they don't literally, pat them like, hey, you can calm
down. It's so hard because he's such a cute little baby. Like, I can't help it.
Exactly.
That's probably why he has separation anxiety. So.
Yeah. For the separation anxiety, how is he? How is he outside the crate? Like how often do you guys leave him home?
Well, so I actually just moved to Chicago like last weekend. And so he's kind of in this like new environment. So that could also be stressing him out. But like either way, like I said, leash reactivity has been a problem like his whole life. And at this point, like I can't just like let him out in the backyard to go to the bathroom. So like he's always gonna be on a leash, So but anyways, what was I saying? What was your question?
How is he outside the crate in your home?
Oh,
because you said he struggles in the crate, and then you said outside. So how is he outside the crate?
So we actually left him outside of the crate for like a good period of time. And then when he was with me when I was in college, he lived with me and he was fine. But like recently he like tore up my parents' rug. So now we're like, okay, like you're not gonna stay outside of the crate, you're gonna go in the crate. But it's also because we had a gate. So the gate separated like the family room to the kitchen. So he was digging to get to the other side. Does that make sense? Like he was trying to get through the gate that was locked. Like it was like a baby gate. So he was like trying to dig at the carpet, and it like ripped some of the carpet up. But like today I went to go pick up dinner, and like he was fine outside of the crate. Like he was probably just like anxiously waiting for me to come back. It all depends.
Does he bark in the home when you leave?
So I actually have like a Wise, it's called Wise, the cam. I have like a camera on him when I leave.
Oh,
So I started doing that just so I can check in on him. I think he like kind of just gets anxious for a little bit. Then he'll lay down. Then like he just keeps like switching places where he like lays down, because I think he's just like anxious for someone to come home.
so for separation anxiety, you can do a few things. It's it's really difficult, but that can be done with e-collar. Um, and it's good you have a camera to help you out because it's difficult because it's when you're gone, you know, that you would have to address it. But that sometimes like I had a client who had a dog, a golden retriever, that had a little bit of separation anxiety, nothing severe, but when like one owner would be in a room, like that dog would be scratching at the door, and after that first lesson, the dog stopped scratching at the door. You know, like it just went away.
Yeah, like sometimes it just fixes on its own by fixing a different issue.
Yeah, because we're addressing the overstimulation. So overstimulation is when, you know, they can't focus, right? So when we teach heal, we dial them down a ton, and they're like, okay, I know what to do now. We have given them a job, you know. A walk, you can walk your dog physically next to you, and like he's physically there with you, but mentally you don't have control, right? Once you control a dog mentally, it's a whole different game. It's ton of control. You know, like that first lesson, Doodle will probably go home crashed out because since we're controlling him mentally, he's going to be super exhausted because it's a mental game now. What else? Any other questions or whatever?
No, but I'm sure I'll think of some and send you an email if that's okay.
Yeah. Trying to think of any common questions I've been asked.
So when's like the soonest we can start, would you say?
Usually, so it goes, you know, you fill out the consultation form, we get that invoice, we set the consultation. After the consultation, I send you a follow-up. I send you a like agreement type of thing, and you need to sign that. Once it's signed, we can begin like pricing and everything and like invoicing. Once everything's paid, then we can begin booking. I availability wise, preferring Sundays. If not Sundays, we can work something out in like the evening time during the week.
Sundays would probably be best for me too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Sundays usually, the weekends in general, like usually people are cool with just because the weekend, you know. One guy.
I'm not like annoyed from an 8-hour like work day. Like I'm ready to go and train my dog.
Exactly. I think one guy was like, you know, who was like, we'll do Sundays, so we'll just add you to our rounds. I'm like, our rounds? He's like, yeah, you know, your rounds, like, you know, you in the morning you visit your parents, and then your cousins, and then they will do training, and then I'm like, okay, I see now. But yeah, booking should be pretty quick because I have a lot of availability.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Oh yeah, so we can.
The better.
Yeah, so we can start as soon as you get, you know, that e-collar, really. E-collar. So what I recommend is the Dogtra 1900S Black Edition, and I'll send this in the follow-up email and a link for you guys to order it as well. It's meant for, you know, dogs 80 pounds and up, so it's a big boy collar.
He's 30.
Yeah, so what we look at is, I think it's 80 pounds or up. I got to figure it out, but it's what. So when we're looking at like for pit bulls, we'll use pit bulls for example. They're an intense breed, right? But they're small, so they're on the 1900S Black Edition because of either the intensity, or like depending on the behavioral issue or something like that. For reactivity, we like to play it safe and use the more powerful collar in case we hit a point where like, okay, like this collar is too weak for Doodle, and then we're stuck, you know, and then we have to go order another collar and everything like that. The 1900S is, in my opinion, the best collar now. The other collar is like a box. Like it's like a little box like hanging out your dog. The 1900S is like curved, so it's aesthetically more pleasing. It's curved, so it's not, you know, bulky and everything. It's nicer. It's got more power. It's durable. It's got long range. It's waterproof. It's rechargeable. The battery lasts a long time. What else? The remote's smaller than the other collars. But I like to play it safe. I don't like to, you know, choose a collar, because if we do appropriate to weight, we would have a lot of unsuccessful clients with, like, you know, these intense small dogs, you know. And we've had, you know, Great Danes, you know, you expect them to be tough, you know, and we do have some Great Danes on the big boy collar. And we have another Great Dane, Poe. She's a sweetheart. She's on the little like Chihuahua, Pomeranian like e-collar, you know, because she's so soft. She's fine, you know. But I expect, you know, usually with reactivity, we need like the stronger e-collar. And it's not in the sense stronger of like 5, you know, it's just more power, you know, that if he ends up being at like a 10, you know, then it's a 10, you know. We won't be in a situation where like, oh wow, this e-collar is too powerful. We've never had that, you know. It's usually like this e-collar is not strong enough. That's what happens usually, most of the time. Any other questions?
Nope. I think I'm okay.
Keep the flat collar on. We'll be using that for training. Just your leash. Are you going to be the one are you both going to be like, are you both the main walkers? Who's going to be walking Doodle?
Me. My mom is like in the suburbs. I just wanted her to like join to like hear, because he's my dog, but he's like my parents' dog, you know, because he's been living at home with us. But it's just me and him.
Okay, cool. Trying to think of anything else that you might other questions. Cool. If anything pops up, let me know. Other than that, very nice to meet you. And keep an eye for that follow-up email. Sometimes it might go to spam, so just check that if you don't see it.
Okay.
But I should be sending it like tomorrow. But cool. Nice meeting you. If you have any other questions, like, let me know, and then I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited. I need this resolved, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye.